Tell me somebody's asked you your favorite question without saying someone has asked you your favorite question. All right, this video is a direct reply to a very special person, a young lady friend of mine. And she asked me, where would I start to get some fish? What kind of tank should I be looking at? And basically, how do I get started? Well, I'm so glad you asked. All right, first thing, number one, don't do this. See that? That's 6 feet of water in a glass box with I don't know how many fish. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Other end of the thing is, there's a 10-gallon aquarium. And I've said this before, get a little aquarium like this, 20 gallons, 10 gallons, whatever, put one fish in it and try to keep it alive. Maybe don't do that either, because that's going to depend on how much you really want to have fish. The 10-gallon aquarium is going to be great for a handful of tetras. And honestly, that's not a bad idea, but I would go 20. A lot of people went 29-gallon, 30-gallon aquariums, and then they put some fish in there, like Oscars, which are beautiful, but they will rapidly outgrow an aquarium that size. So my recommendation for a beginner tank is something like a 29-gallon tank. Get some of these beautiful little guys here. This tank is a wild swamp, but these fish are tetras. There's different kinds of tetras. Those are actually minnows. Well, some of them are minnows, some of them are Vietnamese algae eaters. They're slacking. But these are rainbow or Buenos Aires tetras. These are red minor tetras. Oh my gosh, I've kind of forgotten what some of those are. There's a bunch in there. These, I gotta say, are my favorites. These are African cichlids. This is about as big as they're gonna get in an aquarium. They'll get about 4 to 5 inches, but they'll reproduce. All of those fish came from 5 fish, 6 fish, that I bought at Petco 2 years ago. Yeah, so, oh yeah, and these monsters, these beasts, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Those are jaguar cichlids. They're very aggressive. They get very big. Don't do that. Betas are super cool. Gorgeous little fish. That's Buddy. Hey, Buddy. Yeah. Betas are awesome. And that is the 10-gallon aquarium, which is awesome, again, for single fish or a whole bunch of little fish. Whole bunch of little fish. Hang on. There is a beta in there. He's back here in the corner. That's Snoopy. What up, Snoop? And then those are, I thought they were embratetras. I think they were bought as something called white cloud minnows. I'm not sure what they are. But they're great little fish. I got them at Petco or PetSmart. I think I got 5 of them for $10. You know, honestly, I would say get a tank no bigger than you can comfortably place in your house or your apartment. This is a 20-gallon long, and if you catch these on sale at Petco, sometimes they have half price. Basically works out to be about $1 a gallon for size. Normally a tank like that costs you about 50 bucks. You can get a small filter, an internal filter in there. This tank is an absolute mess because this monster is the only thing that lives in there. But this is an internal filter that's $20. Again, that's another great big fish. He's one of these guys, the jaguars. Beginner fish is such a personal thing because you want a fish that you love. You want a fish that will fit with your lifestyle, That's not going to require a lot of crazy maintenance like a discus. Saltwater, I mean, if you're going to get a fish tank, get into aquariums, and you jump straight into saltwater, God love you. I hope it works. You might find yourself more frustrated than entertained. So I would suggest go and get something in the 20 to 30 gallon range. Buy some easy to care for fish. A couple of cichlids do meet that requirement because these are very hardy fish. They're very colorful and beautiful and active. They're easy to take care of. But they're also, they will multiply pretty fast. And I wouldn't want more than like 3 or 4 cichlids in a 30 gallon aquarium. Just because they need a lot of room to move. So I would stick with, tetras. I would stick with tetras. Beginner fish, they're great, but they can be wonderful fish. I love mine. I've got some of these in here. These Buenos Aires diamond tetras, I think is what these guys are called. I don't remember. These are red minor again. This is I forgot what these guys are called. They're beautiful silver fish. They got a black tail. They've actually gotten kind of big, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of those fish. But you'll see them in the fish store. They're pretty common. And here's something that's really cool for you where you're at. Again, this video is specifically for somebody I know that lives in Missouri. Go down to the river and catch these guys. Those little striped fish in there. Those are called Missouri shiners, and they're just minnows. I caught a bunch of them when I was up there camping last year. Still have 2. And that's another thing too, is you can buy bait fish, or they don't really call them bait fish in a pet store. They call them feeder fish, and they're basically just minnows and goldfish, like these guys. All of those fish, even these big ones, are sold as feeder fish or comic goldfish in the pet store, and they're literally a quarter, $5 for $1 for the little minnows. Excuse me. And those are awesome because they're super easy to take care of. They're very inexpensive. They're very active, and they're kind of fun. But some of them are not particularly pretty unless you get the comic goldfish. The comic goldfish are awesome. I love them because they get big, because they're very active. They're like having a little puppy in a fish tank. They're very cool, but they need a big tank. That's a 60 gallon. This thing, let me get over here so you can see it. That's a 60 gallon aquarium. That's a 55. This thing here is 125 gallons. It's 6 feet long and full of water. It weighs somewhere around 850 pounds with no rocks or sand or anything in it. So don't take that lightly. There's that 20 gallon. There's another 10 gallon. There's another 55. And then, 10 gallon and another 55. You can get silly with this hobby pretty fast. But for recommendations, check out a YouTube channel called K&G Tropicals. I don't have their card anymore. Hang on. Yes, I do. K&G Tropicals. Need to dust. KG Tropicals. That is John and Lisa Hudson. John and Lisa Hudson. I actually met them at Aquashella. Great people. And check out their channel. Lisa does a bunch of videos on how to set up a fish tank, how to have a beta fish tank. Betas are gorgeous. John does some new aquarium keeper videos that are awesome to watch. But I would say the best thing to do, the best piece of advice, and I was asked this on a live stream, and a whole 90-something people watched it. Number one piece of advice is do not buy your aquarium and your fish at the same time. Buy all of your aquarium stuff with an idea of what fish you want. That's great. Take the aquarium home, find a place for it. Find a place to put it, somewhere you want it to live. Set it up, get the water running, and follow the instructions on the bottles of starter liquid. There is Quick Start, Stress Coat, some other products from API, and Fritz makes one that will help you get the biology in your aquarium right. And if you know somebody who has an aquarium, a good hack is get some of the nasty filter goo out of their aquarium filter and put that in your aquarium filter, and it'll help jumpstart the bacteria cycle in your aquarium. It's important, but depending on what kind of fish you have, it probably isn't going to harm your fish if you don't do that. But that's my biggest piece of advice. Don't bring your fish home in a bag with a dry glass box and no water in it, and you don't have any idea where you're going to put it yet. Get the aquarium first. Get it set up. Have that done. Then go back and bring home your little wet babies. So, again, best suggestions: get a mid-sized tank, 20, 30-gallon tank. Get some tetras. Put some sand and gravel in the bottom of it that's washed and clean. It doesn't have to be the expensive stuff from the pet store, but it does have to be washed and cleaned. You can do that in a bucket outside with a hose. But do that, put that in there. You are going to need, obviously, the aquarium. You're going to need a filter of some kind. You don't need a giant external filter like these guys. You don't need that kind of filter, but you do need some kind of filter that's going to circulate and clean the tank, circulate the water. Even a little bitty tank with a little bitty filter like that is a great choice. This one is on a 55-gallon aquarium with a bunch of fish that I actually caught in the river. And they're all hiding right now. But that is Marineland Penguin Pro 275. That is for a 55-gallon aquarium ish. So just get a good little internal filter for a 20 or 30-gallon aquarium. Sand, gravel. You might want to look at a heater if you like keeping your apartment or your house chilly, like 73, 74 degrees. You probably want a heater. If you like to let your house sit around 76 or 77 degrees because you're partially a reptile or an amphibian of some kind, or it's just because that's what you do in the Midwest, you might not need a filter. Most fish are going to want temperatures of their water somewhere around 78 degrees. Most of my tanks have heaters, so that's kind of how I run it. Gosh, what else? A light is nice for you. The fish doesn't care. They really don't. They do not care about the light. They only care about the light if you're going to have plants, and you either need to put your aquarium in a window where it can get natural light, like my monsteras and my pothos over here. Those are getting a lot of natural light. But I also have an aquarium light in there that's on a timer. They're not terribly expensive. You can order them online, or you can order them from KG Tropicals, and the brand is called Hygger, Hygger. Trying to find one clean enough I can show you the logo. Here you go. Hygger. The tanks need to be cleaned. I'm going to do that today. That's a decent brand. They do come from overseas. They are an Amazon brand, but you can get them from K&G Tropicals. You can also use a desk lamp, like I've got over here, just for a light. The fish seem to like that. And once I stop walking around, they'll come out because they think it's time to get fed. Light is great. You'll like that. The fish, again, they really don't care. They just want, they want clean water. They want to be fed regularly, and they don't want to be cold and uncomfortable, just like everybody. So those are the things I would start with. If you know what kind of fish you want, find out how big that fish is going to get. A cichlid is going to get about 4 or 5 inches, so they need a little bit more water if you're going to have more of them. Goldfish will get very big. Some of them will get 10 or 12 inches long, and for that you're going to want a 100-gallon aquarium. Tetras, most of them only get about 2.5 inches long. And the nice thing about tetras is they can endure in just about any water conditions. Obviously, you want to keep your tank kind of clean. My tank has some green stuff in there, and it might not look particularly clean, but all those plants are natural plants, so they're very happy. I rarely have to do any maintenance to this tank other than top off the water. The other tanks, like the ones that are sand and gravel and natural rock and different things, those I have to keep clean, because there's nothing in the water to counteract the waste from the fish. That's why they're heavily filtered. And a tank like this with a lot of plants, those are going to consume the natural nitrites and nitrates, ammonia and things that end up, in the water. And the healthier your tank is, the greener your plants are going to be. At least that's what I think. So something to think about. But that's really the long version of a short answer. I hope that works for you. If you have any questions, let me know and watch those videos I told you about. Good luck.